Hey everybody, this is Giancarlo Aulino reporting for the game plan, and I'm happy to be joined by my guest today who's making his return here to the game plan. He joined us when we were on Vibe 105, and he's back here to talk about an exciting time here in Canadian sports and sports around the world. He is an Olympic gold medalist, former world record holder. He's Donovan Bailey. How you doing, Donovan?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's a beautiful day outside, so it's good to be chatting with you.
As we're recording this, it's before the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. Does it bring back fond memories for you of just what the athletes are going through and yourself at the time being that athlete or about to embark on a journey at the Olympics?
Yeah, you know what? It's a beautiful time for all the athletes who made it to the Olympic Games, and also it is a time when Olympians get to separate themselves from Olympic champions. So ultimately this is like the calm before the storm right now. So it is one of those times that if you're mentally and psychologically prepared, it is one of those moments that you're getting as much sleep as possible, as much therapy as possible, and you're living in solace until it's time for you to get on your field of play and challenge your competitors in the sport that you've chosen, or the sport that has chosen you.
And just the opening ceremonies, when you're in the stadium looking around and you see all the other athletes come in, what's going through your mind in that moment?
I got to tell you that in 1996, I didn't attend the opening ceremonies. I was nursing an injury, so I got to watch it, from the confines of my own home. But I know that I did the opening ceremonies for the Commonwealth Games, and so the opening ceremony is it's a rite of passage for every single person that's representing the country. You get to represent your country in the uniform or the colors of the uniform that's been granted to you to walk in the opening ceremonies. So it is one of those times to meet and to congratulate and to hang out with the other countries, all the countries that have made it there.
And also, like, just being in the Olympics, like that grind of actually training and preparing for it and outside competitions before you actually qualify for it. What was it like for you? Like, how soon did you maybe tail off a bit to know that you're in peak performance to compete in the Olympics?
Well, again, for me, track and field is a professional sport. So we had competitions all around the world, before the games. So a lot of times, even you see some of the athletes that are competing for Canada that are in Paris right now. You heard about them competing over the past few weeks. That's really, a lot of them are training very hard through and competing while they're training. So now they've tapered off, like you said, over the last 2 weeks, leading into the games. A lot of athletes have gotten away from competition and just getting sharp for them to get ready to maximize and to be at their very best, when their event comes up.
And you mentioned there 96, that Olympic moment there for you, but it wasn't dealt there because you said you're nursing an injury. So did that bring any, I guess, uncertainty for you at the time because you're nursing an injury? Did you worry that maybe you overtrained or maybe you competed too often before the actual Olympic event?
No, not really. I think that, here's the thing, and I tell this I tell it to athletes, I tell it to CEOs, I tell it to whoever I'm talking to, but obviously this probably applies to athletes more so. I felt that I was invincible. I felt that I was the one to beat. Right. So the mindset of any athlete going into the games has to be just that. I felt that I was invincible. No one was going to beat me. And no one was better than me on the planet. And so every athlete, whether or not, you've trained or prepared or have the ability, if you have that mindset, sometimes manifesting that allows you to get to at minimum, walk away from the Olympic Games with a personal best.
And just even on that, in terms of training, when you're going through world championships and qualifiers before you get to the Olympics, were you superstitious at all in terms of you have to do the same thing, or was it like you weren't a believer into that stuff?
No, dude, I had my routine. I mean, I had like, there's certain kind of music that I listen to. It's the way I put my uniform on, my favorite jock strap, whatever, man. They were absolutely routine, like crazy, obsessive compulsive routines that I went through. And so it's quite normal to me. But yeah, there are certainly routines that you go through, and everybody has their own customized thing, Mine was, I had to lay out my uniform, I had to put my number on in sequence. Everything had to be on the ground, like everything had its own place. So before I went out, when I was in a call room, before I competed, all I was wearing was a jock strap. So I was naked. So I'm just saying to you, it's almost like having this freedom, understanding that you want to fly and you're about to fly.
And it clearly worked because you set that world record. So when you're going through the finish line and that moment, like it finally sets in that you are an Olympic gold medalist and you set a record, what are the emotions that you're feeling at the time, knowing that you accomplished all that in that race?
Giancarlo, I set the record, not I think that sometimes us Canadian, we minimize it. I became the fastest man in the history of the planet. And the only one in Canada, well, first of all, the first man in the history of the world to be Olympic champion, world champion, and world record holder at the same time. So when I passed the line, it really was just, a goal that I wanted to achieve, and I finally got it. But as an athlete, what I started to have a conversation about was all the mistakes that I made during the race. And so I'll be talking to my coach, and we're talking about how much faster I could have gone. So crossing the line, certainly as an athlete, when you cross the line, you know that you've achieved something and you've achieved your best. And in my case, do something that nobody else has ever done in the history of the world. But then, as a competitor, I just kept thinking, I had a terrible start. My first 30 was terrible. My middle was better, but I could improve that too. And then my last 30 could also need improvement. So again, as an athlete, you think about my goal I've reached my goal, but as a competitor, you're always seeking to improve.
Definitely. And just also, like, it wasn't the only gold medal you won, because you followed that up with another one. I know they're both equally important to you, but one of them is you're alone there, 100-meter, going up the rest of the field, and the other one was a relay, so you're part of a team. Which one was more satisfying for you as a competitor?
Well, they both were. I became the fastest man in the history of the world, so I achieved that goal. But ultimately, Bruni, Robert, Glenroy, and Carlton, had no hope of getting an Olympic gold medal. So I looked at that as a goal for me personally, that I want to help them get there. So obviously the relay was something real important, because I was trying to get these guys to achieve something that they couldn't have done by themselves.
And that was a great moment too in Canadian history.
We're the first team, again, since 1896, we were the first team to beat the Americans. We were the first team, and we did that in Atlanta, in their own house. So so that's another history-making thing.
And just, you made history more because then you brought it to your house, Rogers Center, SkyDome. And this soundbite everybody's seen, regardless of the age. Like, I'm born in 1995. I know a lot of kids now, like whether they're born in 2013, 2014, I'm sure they're going to end up seeing it on one of the sports highlight shows. So Michael Johnson comes in, 150 meters. You have this race, you beat him. Do you regret the soundbite, what you said at the end of the race?
No, not at all. This is in the heat of competition. I didn't say anything. I don't think that I said anything offensive. I guess I'm the only human being in the history of the world to be penalized for calling someone chicken. Everybody eats chicken every day. So, no, not at all. It was done in the heat of the moment. I have nothing personal against Michael. Certainly, there was a lot of tension about that race itself. It wasn't going to be a race. I've won the race in 3 steps. The first the first three steps of the race, it was over. Michael and I don't have a rivalry. He is probably one of the best speed endurance sprinters. That is 400 meters or 200 meter guys in the history of the world. So no, but there was never going to be a challenge with Michael and I over 150 or over 100 meters.
And even on that too, like, this is a unique race because the 100 meter and the 200 meter, you challenge each other, meet in the middle, and see who's the best. Right. So do you think that should be done now too? Like something after each Olympic Games, the 100 meter, 200 meter should meet together and put on a race like that?
Well, you know what? I think they run them still just based on the fact that we started this in 1997, and I see that they do this often in some competitions during the Diamond League. So yes, you know what? I thought it was a great challenge. It was great for TV. It was great for the audience. We made some money, so there's one country versus another country. So I thought it was like amazing. So yes, I believe, to your question, I think that they should always do things like that to highlight the best versus the very best.
Yeah, and it just brings more excitement to the track and everything. Absolutely. Gets everybody involved. So I agree with you there. And also, just a couple final questions here. Like, some of these athletes, when they're going to hope to do what you did in the Olympics, like if you were to see a young Donovan Bailey coming up into the Olympics in 96 and he would to see the gold medalist come into the room and ask for advice, what advice would you give to your younger self before 96?
Well, number one, I think that I did this, and maybe I did this too much. You know what? I always tell these kids to embrace the moment. Number one, you have to be prepared. Be prepared to be lucky, because it does take a little bit of luck. Work your butt off. Listen to the right people. Ignore the noise, because there is always a lot of people that are talking. And usually when you start to be successful, that's when you have 100 coaches. Don't listen to those people. Ignore the noise. Follow the people that have always been there. Follow that support system that's always been there, that allows you to get to that place where you can shine at the highest level. And so that's what I tell the kids now. And that's the same thing I would have told my younger self.
Excellent advice there. And just before we wrap up here, Donovan, you're part now of the broadcast of the Olympics, so Canadians will get to see you on TV. What's this been like for you in this role, in the broadcasting role?
You know what? I got to tell you, man, the staff and crew at CBC has been amazing. And I just look at them as another relay team, another gold medal winning relay team, because, the executive producers and the producers have put together a fantastic team. And I'm looking forward to being with those guys, because they are the best of the best.
And before we wrap up here and let you go, how can our viewers here at the Game Plan stay up to date with everything you're doing and follow you on social media and even check out your podcast?
The official Donovan Bailey. And you all need to go in and you need to subscribe to my podcast, which is Donovan Bailey Running Things. And I got tons of other things, tons of other stuff going on. Stay tuned. Watch me live on CBC during the Olympic Games, and let's cheer on all these incredible Canadian athletes to gold.
Well said there, and highly recommend that follow, Donovan. Really appreciate you coming on here and sharing your time, and I wish you all the best during the Olympics. Thanks a lot.
No problem, Giancarlo. Have a great day.